You
I
are
feel like
more
it's
than enough.
not.
Enough
Like,
for
I feel like
who?
nothing is ever enough. Like,
Yeah.
what am I
For
doing
who?
here? Like, why am I alive right now? What is the point? Like,
You keep
why am I
moving the
existing?
Dana and I having a crisis over
Yeah.
here.
You guys keep moving the goalposts.
Welcome to We're All Just Faking It. This is episode 43. Today we're talking about Let's Get Spooky and talk about death. With us today, we have Steph, Dana, Braylon, and myself, Blaze. To start us off, did anyone fake it last week?
All day, every day. Every moment of my life.
I feel that majorly.
Every second I have to exist and socialize on this planet.
Last week was a week from hell for me. I had to travel for work. Basically, so Monday I was supposed to travel, right? My flight gets canceled. So the chaos of dealing with a canceled flight, I end up having to leave at was it 7 a.m.? I think it was 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning, which meant I had to leave at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So I didn't really get any sleep. Like, I could not fall asleep at that point because I had to wake up early enough to shower and then travel and all this mess. So that alone was a lot. And then I get to my destination, I have to go straight to work. And then on the way back, my flight was under a weather advisory. So I was worried my flight back was going to get canceled. So then I land, right? My plane sits on the tarmac for probably 30 minutes after landing because they could not pull in. There were too many other flights in the way. Then I go to get my bags. There's 7 other flights going to the same bag claim. Nowhere does that. Usually it's like 2, maybe 3 max, not 7. So by the time I get my bag, it's pouring rain. What would be an hour drive to get back to my apartment was over 2 hours because of traffic and wrecks because it was storming so bad. Then we pull in to our apartment complex. A tree fell down. So we had no power. No power, no internet. So the power didn't get turned back on until the next morning at like 5 a.m. So I had to get rid of all of my stuff in my fridge because that's like 12 hours or something like that without power. And then the internet didn't get turned on until like 6 p.m. the next day.
You win.
That started off horrific.
I don't know what
and then
you
it
win.
got progressively worse.
I don't know what you win, but you win.
It was already
so
bad
I'm so glad
until
we
you got
recorded
home. Like, geez.
Yeah. It was even
God.
If I'm
better.
ever asked in the future why I refuse to fly, I'm going to play them that clip. That's the clip I'm playing.
If my flight ever gets canceled to do a session for this project, I'm just gonna be like, nope.
It's
I'm
a
good.
sign.
I'm not
I'm
going.
not going.
I just don't even go.
It's a
If it
sign.
involves a plane, I'm good. If I can't do it remotely, I'm not the gal for you.
It's so
tough.
bad. It was ridiculous. And when my boss realized that I hadn't slept, he was because we went out to eat that night as a team. When he realized, he was like, "We need to get you asleep."
He's like,
was
go,
so
what are you
funny.
doing here?
Seriously.
Hilarious.
It's honestly terrifying how fast the brain degrades without sleep. It's a nightmare.
I'm surprised I lasted that whole day.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did it.
I would not have
Because
been
you don't
able
do
to
it
do that.
often.
I
You know,
never
you had
pull
some like a little energy
all-nighters.
reserves there you could tap into.
Mhm.
No, that sounds awful. That sounds awful.
Yeah, it was
How much
horrible.
money do you think that you guys would have to be paid for that to be like relatively common in your life?
Traveling for a job?
Nothing.
Like, and then
never.
having to do what Blaze did.
Honestly,
least,
with
like,
this
3
project,
times a year.
I'm like going to have to. Like that's
I would say
something that's gonna happen.
minimum like 400K a year for me is what I would have to take to do that.
It would
I don't
have to
think
be
there
enough
would
money that
be
it didn't
enough.
matter.
I don't think there would be enough money to like put myself through that. I'd just be like, do you know what? That's not the job for me. Let me
Well,
find
if
a
you could
different
come
thing.
home and have like all of the world's nicest like spa treatments and home and like, you know what I mean? If your house was like fancy as hell and you had like a masseuse that came to you, you could have like a whole
Yeah,
process
yep.
for like then I would be like, okay, cool, I'm fine.
At
Like let me
least
go to
2
my special
rooms
place.
in your
Yeah.
home have like
I want like a salt
lagoons.
spa. Yeah,
Yep.
like an indoor pool with
Artificially
the lazy
heated for the
river.
Bahamas. Yes.
So with this project, to give y'all an idea, I'm probably going to have to travel at least like I don't know, a lot more
Once
at
a
this
month, you
point.
think?
Not once a month because they keep coming to the office here,
Oh, that's
which
nice.
is so nice for me.
Mm.
But everyone else on my team is having to travel.
Mm.
But they are kind of rotating around. So I don't
It
know.
might just be to find out cost. Because that's what ended up happening in my previous companies when it came to travel. Whoever could travel the cheapest were the ones, like we held always the conferences at the most expensive one so that everyone else could travel and cheap.
Either way, I hope it's not too much for you.
We'll see. Did anyone
y'all
else
fake
fake it?
I would say when I was on vacation recently, I did a lot of faking it because it was like an adventure vacation, and I am not an adventure vacation person really. I am a
Really?
relaxing vacation person. So like when I like to go on vacation, I like to do nothing. Like I just want to be in a nice house and literally reading a book, sitting on the couch, going out to eat, like this, like lots of breaks. This was like a no, we're out of the house from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and we're outside in the sun all day. So yeah, I did a lot of faking it. Even though like it sounds, yes, I'm like complaining about vacation. It was just exhausting. So it
no,
was
I get
fun.
that.
It's
I get
one
that
of those-
completely.
exhausting.
It's one of those vacations where you like need a vacation from
Yes,
the
literally.
vacation.
And I
There
kept
should be
telling
balance.
I kept telling Trey my Aura Ring every day because we'd be like outside in the sun all day. So my Aura Ring would tell me like, "Hey, you didn't recover well yesterday. Like you
Oof.
need to make time to rest today." And like every single day, it was just getting worse and worse because I wouldn't recover again. And then it would be like, "Hey, you really need to recover," and I'd be like, "Ugh." But then Trey was funny. He was like, "Well, come Saturday, you'll have all the time." And I'm like, "But I want to do it now. It's
Yeah.
only Tuesday. I can't."
Exactly.
Tuesday.
I
Exactly.
literally was like, yeah, so, but it was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. We got to see so my husband's grandparents on both sides, like the husband and wife, they are from this small town in Montana, and they went to high school there, and there's literally like 500 people that live there. So everywhere you go, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I know your grandpa. I know your grandma. I know the whole family." So it was kind of fun to like see where they were from, see like where they grew up, and they'd been going on vacations here since they were like all little kids. So yeah, it was a good time.
The photos were great.
Yeah.
The videos phenomenal. Just
It was
so
beautiful. It was lovely. And then next time I go, I'm going to be much more well prepared for what I'm getting into.
And maybe like take your aura ring off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. I mean,
But it was like, I like that it was
Okay.
tracking like my steps, my activity. But yeah, every morning I'd be like, oh. As it just
it doesn't prepare you for the day, does it? It's just like, ah.
I'm like, if I had my way, I would have stayed in bed all day today. Yes, of course.
The end of the week, your aura ring's like, are you still alive? Like, are you okay? Like,
Your heart rate.
Yeah. And then I took 2 days off of work and just like did nothing. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
I can't. There's no. We got flight issue stuff too, so we didn't get back until like 1 a.m. on Sunday, and I was like,
Oh.
I'm not going to work tomorrow.
Is that all from the CrowdStrike thing still? Is that still
No,
impacting?
I don't know what ours was because we were flying like a tiny airport to a tiny airport, and I think they just
Okay.
had some issues. I don't think it was because it was like a week later.
Yeah, but it's like everyone I know, I don't know that many people that have flown, but like guy came from
Had
Spain
some
and it was
issue.
60 hours instead of 24. Like that's insane.
Yeah. Dana, what about you? Did you do any faking it?
So it's been a while since we all like saw each other. And I would say last time we spoke I was doing pretty well, so that's nice. I'm just like in my like depression era at the moment. I've like got like high anxiety, just hitting me like every day, and like silly things, overthinking things that I really don't need to be overthinking, and then my depression hits me in the evening. Yesterday I had a shower and then I just sat in the bathroom in my towel for like an hour, and then I was like, oh, it's midnight, I should probably like get up and do something. So yeah.
Sometimes that towel time is like unmatched.
Yeah, it was nice, but then also I didn't realize how long I've been there. I thought like maybe 10 minutes. I was like, oh, an hour, okay. It's maybe a bit longer than I anticipated.
I remember learning about the like 7 different types of rest, and one of them is sensory rest, and I didn't fully understand what that meant until I went on vacation. And I was like, I just needed to be quiet for like an hour, please. Because my house is really quiet a lot. And I feel like towel time is also like a sensory rest. Like you're just like, okay, nothing, no inputs, please.
Yeah. I also find though, like when I'm having a shower, unless I've got like music that I'm singing along to, like that's when my brain is like, hey, remember this like traumatic moment, or like, hey, like, you know, so and so hasn't actually messaged you like today, so they actually hate you and, you know, they despise everything about your being. I'm like, oh, nice, thank you. I'm glad you told me that while I'm washing my hair.
Yeah, my thoughts during my showers are all over the place. Sometimes my best ideas come from that time, but also it's just a whirlwind.
I've got my phone in there with me and I'm like, oh, let me put this in Notion. Let me put this in Notion. Let me put this in Notion.
See, my phone doesn't work with the wet hands, so I just use the voice to text. But like, you guys don't have media constantly.
I don't even
playing.
do that. I
have
in my phone
of the time.
on the shower. Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah,
Music,
I have
shower, always.
Yeah.
I don't. My shower time is like my quiet time.
Nice. Well,
Mine's
I'm
my party
constantly
time.
interrupted. I always have
In the
a
shower?
cat fighting. Yeah, I always have a cat fighting to have something to drink, and then a dog that just wants to like corral her and then just needs to be close. I have specific TV shows that I watch while I shower. Like,
oh no, mine's music.
a whole
Mine's
aesthetic.
like dance
music.
party, music time.
Mine's like karaoke time. Although I did learn that apparently if you want to like stop overthinking or like just hum, apparently you don't like think when you're humming.
You can't think when
So
you're
I've been
humming.
trying to do that more this week when I find myself in that kind of overthinking. So I guess that's like kind of how I faked it. But I'll tell you what, I've not been faking it very well this week. I was like trying on Friday to like be okay, and then one of the my colleagues at work was like, "Are you okay? You seem really sad today." And I'm like, "Do I? What do you mean? I'm fine.
Thank
like,
you. Thanks for saying
fine."
that.
Runs to the bathroom to sob for the next 20 minutes because someone asked me if I'm okay.
Do they have to comment?
She was like, "Do you want a hug?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Well, that's really
Did you
sweet.
sob the entire time? Because I'd have sobbed.
I was trying to be like, you know, I have my shit together a bit. But I was just like, I can't remember the last time I was hugged. This is so nice. So that's a bit depressing. But it was very nice. One of those big, like, squishy, like, when you're rocking about hugs. And I was just like, this is so nice.
Maybe she'll check in on you more and see if you want more hugs.
Yeah. I'd just be like, hi. I'm not mentally sound. Please hug me.
You just need like a little card. Tell her that if you like hold up the red flash card, you
Yeah.
need a hug break. You're just at your desk like flashing her a little card.
Literally. The worst thing is I thought I was like doing really well at like pretending I was okay. Just like, you seem really off today. I'm like, oh,
Great. Thank
Great.
you.
good to know.
To be fair, some people are just like super easy to read.
I think some people are
also
also good at reading
empaths.
people.
Yes, both.
Yeah.
Because I would
Yeah.
say that I'm good at reading people. So,
Oh man,
yeah.
so at my co-working space, sorry, this is really short. People come in all the time and I can tell that they're like really upset. Like it happens all the
Mhm.
time. And so I don't ever say anything to them in person, but I will just let them like go to their workspace, like visibly crying sometimes or whatever, but they like aren't telling me anything. I just write them a little note that says, "Let me know if you need anything," with a little heart, and I just put it on their desk, like, and then walk away.
Aw,
I
that's
would
so
sob.
nice.
Just to let
Yeah,
them
I
know
would-
that like,
that would
hey,
be
I'm
my
here,
sob.
but I don't want to intrude. I don't want to ask you, and then a lot of times they will come up to me and they'll say like a parent just passed, or I'm having struggles with my husband, or like my pet just passed, or something like that. And we'll talk about it and I'll give them a hug or something. But yeah, I hate when people ask me if I'm okay. So I'm like, I'm not gonna ask anyone.
Like top three things,
Honestly.
top 3 reasons I hate working in the office. That's like in the top 2.
Yeah.
Because then people talk to you, and then
Yeah.
it's like, no.
Especially when you're
I-
already using all of your energy to appear functioning and normal, and then someone you're like just is a little arrow and your little wall just crumbles. You're like, no.
Or it's like with men, they use that dad voice. Oh, I've got daddy issues. I crumble. I just start sobbing. Oh, it's so bad. I hate it.
Honestly though, like I think every time I've like full on sobbed at work, I've gotten away with no one walking past my desk at that point. I've like done really, really well. I think if someone was to put like a note on my desk like you did, Braylon, I think that would make me sob even harder.
I'm
So
saying,
nice. I'm like, oh.
what is that? Ooh.
So moving into our topic for today, death.
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 What does it mean to us? Does anyone want to start?
I mean,
That's a
I
good
haven't
question.
experienced a
What does
lot
it
of death
mean?
in my life.
You haven't?
No, I've lost my dad and a cousin, but
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. My dad hit me like a couple weeks later, but my cousin, I don't know how I necessarily compartmentalize death. It's probably not super healthy, but that's a therapy topic.
I've lost grandparents and pets, so it's nobody. I haven't had anybody in my life like young die unexpectedly, and even my grandparents, we knew for like a very long time, which made it a lot
Your
easier.
grieving process.
Yeah. The pets, even my last pet death that I had was I knew for a really long time too. It wasn't sudden, which is such a blessing. That's like the biggest blessing I think you can receive in life is when you get advance notice that somebody is going to pass, because you can really make sure that you do everything that you need to feel good.
Alternatively, I would say it can also be a curse. My granddad, when he was like 80, he got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and they like took him in and like sorted him all out and everything. And then he was okay for a bit, and then it came back, and then they got rid of it, and then he had a heart attack, and then he was okay again. And he had to learn how to walk and everything. And then 5 years later, he had and then 5 years later, he had cancer of his bowel and died. And it's just like, really? You couldn't have just like you dragged him through the whole of that. So he not only did he have one brain tumor, it came back. He had to have gamma knife treatment. He had a heart attack. He had to relearn how to walk and talk and eat. And
was that
like everything
his choice each time? Like, was he the one making the decisions to go through with everything?
I think it was just like, I don't know, when you're in the hospital, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we're not going to like save
'Cause
your life.
at least here,
I
like
mean,
you fully get a choice in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
Like you
Here
can
you
choose
do.
to even have like you can choose to, if you're going to hospital, to have like a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate,
Yeah.
which means like they're not going to do anything to save you if you
No, he
die.
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't have a DNR because I know when he first had his brain tumor sorted out, he like died on the table and they brought him back, and he like was missing like this chunk of his
Oh
skull,
my gosh.
and like you could like if he leant forward, you could kind of like see like not see his brain, but like because
It
there
was
was like a layer of
mushier?
skin, but like you could kind
Nope.
of
Nope.
like
Nope. Nope. Nope.
That's
Nope.
crazy though that he was so old and said like I'm going to keep
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah, it was just I guess survival instincts. I guess he thought he was just gonna beat it and then he was gonna be okay. But yeah, he
I mean,
just
he
ended up
kinda
having
did,
5 years of misery.
It was something else completely unrelated that got him, which is crazy.
yeah, you know, bless him. So it's not always a blessing. I mean, we also
Yeah.
got told when he got diagnosed with cancer, I think it was like stage 3, and he had like a week to live, and he actually lived 2.5 months.
Yeah, that happened with my grandpa. They told us that he was going to have 2 months to live and he lived like 8. I don't think that they're very
But I kind of wish that
accurate.
he hadn't because he was really, really like we just watched him slowly deteriorate, like
That
day
does
by day.
suck.
And it was just like you want to keep like your nice memories, but then
Yeah.
like you see this like person who's like just a shadow of themselves, where they're not even themselves
Yeah.
anymore. It's
Yeah.
so it's like
That's not
it's
never
kind of nice
fun.
to know like the 5 years I had with him extra from the brain tumor was, you know, it was nice. I got to spend time with my granddad and stuff, but that last one where they were like a week and it was like I was like, do you know what, that's just cruel to him. Like that's just too much.
That's the
Like
nice
with
thing about
humans.
pets.
Yeah.
You
How
can
do you know
choose
with
to
pets?
get you can choose to get a little bit ahead of it if you
Yeah.
want. So you're not just waiting until they get so sick that they die, which is a big argument. Some people choose to wait until they get sick and some people choose to put their pets down, you know, when they find out that they have some terminal thing, and neither is wrong, but if you do want that, you know, you're able to make the decision, which is nice.
It's very hard. It's very hard, I think, especially with like people, because I think a lot of people, like my nana died at New Year's Eve / New Year's Day, kind of like in the middle of the night, and like she didn't want to. She was deteriorating, and she didn't want to like live another 6 months of this where she's
Mhm.
like forgetting who people were and stuff, and she didn't even join us in 2024, so she got her
She
wish.
said, I'm out. I'm not living through
Peace
another year.
out.
She said, this
Not
is my
dealing with this
time
shit.
to go.
Honestly.
So yeah, it's really hard, I think, because like on the one hand you're like, yeah, I would like the more time and to know and like cherish the time you've got with people, and then on the other hand it's like you don't want to watch them become someone you don't recognize anymore at the same time.
Yeah. Makes me appreciate Butters a little bit more too, knowing that it's not forever. I've made her into a tiny little bratty monster, but she's my attention seeking, does not take no for an answer, attention seeking little monster. Yeah, you. She opened her eyes.
What about you, Blaze?
Most of the losses that I've had in my life have been like my grandparents. I will say like my mom's, or I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a way that makes the most sense. My mom's ex-husband, but also my brother's dad. So not my dad, but his dad. He got cancer. And that was kind of hard to watch, but also like it didn't hit me the same because it's not my dad, it's his dad. If it had been my dad, that would be a very different story. And then of course I've had like pet losses, and that's always hard. My childhood dog, she did end up being kind of like sudden. She Which was really hard to watch because she had like her first seizure one week and then the next week she like couldn't get up. So it was very like abrupt. That was very hard to deal with. But I would say none of the others have hit as hard as that.
Weirdly enough, I'm the same. My pets have hit harder than the people that I've known
Mhm.
die. I had
The
two very sudden pet deaths as
only
well.
the only pet I've had die is my hamster.
Oh,
And I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's just like a nervous like response.
Yeah.
And she had a stroke, so she was still alive, but she couldn't move.
it's so
And
sad.
like my mum had her in like one of those little travel cases next to her bed and was like putting like little water in her mouth, like trying to help, and like waking up every so often to check on her. She went in the morning, like I don't know, my mum woke up at like 5 o'clock and she was like not alive anymore. And it's just so hard. Like, I don't know, every person I know that's had a hamster has had some kind of traumatic like end to the hamster. I think I was sad for like a weekend and then I was okay again, which was the same with my granddad, I think, as well. I was like sad for the weekend because he died on the Thursday evening. Then I had Friday off for compassionate leave, and then Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday I was like, okay, I'm going to get on now. And stuff. But I do think like, not so much my hamster now because like, I think I was like 13, and I'm like 26 now. But like I know for a while afterwards, like little things that would remind me of my granddad would make me sad. Or like when I was with my ex, I was thinking like my granddad's never going to see me get married like ever again. Like, well, not again because I've not been married once, but you know what I mean, like at all ever. And it's just like it's just little things that come up. Sometimes like you'll realize it's their birthday, or like you'll like pass somewhere and you'll be like, oh, you know, that was their favorite place to go, or like whatever. And I think that's hard as well. But I do remember a quote, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's like grief just shows that you still have that love for a person. It's where your love goes.
Yeah, I
It's
love
like,
that.
how lucky are you that you have something that
To
you love
grieve.
so much to grieve.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Beautiful way to look at that.
I think so, because we're getting a little bit like tugging at your heartstrings there.
Are you guys afraid of death?
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
No,
100%.
I'm also not. Like
it's
I don't
part
want to
of it.
die traumatically. That doesn't sound fun, right? I don't want to like drive my car into the water and drown or something like that, please. But the actual death, I think of like in two ways. One, we didn't know anything before we were born. So it's not like that's a possibility in my mind that it could just be like before we were born.
Rebirth.
And we didn't know anything and there was just nothing, right? So you can't be scary if there's nothing. But a way bigger part of me is like there's definitely not nothing. And I think I don't exactly know, but I know that our energy goes somewhere and that energy can somehow be accessed by other people. And so it doesn't scare me in that
I
sense.
think the
It makes
thought of
sense.
nothing scares me way more than the thought of something. Like, I don't want there to
For
be
sure.
nothing. Nothing just feels like, what's the point of life if there's nothing
And
after?
I don't
Yeah,
think that there
like
is. I truly don't believe that there is nothing because it just doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't add up to me for it to just poof, you know?
yeah, I think like the fear of the unknown is, I think, what my biggest fear, like
Mhm.
the death fear is. It's like that I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, you know, I believe in heaven and hell and purgatory, but it's like, but what if it isn't? You know, what if it's just nothing? You know, and it's really hard because like, yes, people have had near death experiences, and like, you know, there's those types of things, or like kids when they like randomly like remember like
A
details of
past
their like
life.
previous lives and stuff. But it's like it's not enough, you know? It's like not
There's no
enough.
proof for you.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to like have a near death experience or anything, but I'm just like, it's just I just the one thing that brings me comfort is that nearly every near death experience, they experience pretty much the same feelings. Which is
Comfort,
nice.
warmth,
Yeah.
home, like feeling like you're being hugged.
Yeah, it's like
So-
very like a warm like
Why can't it be both? Why can't it be the cease of something in your current and
Oh,
the start
totally.
of something in the next. Because, like, to those
transformation.
feelings of near-death experiences, comfort, warmth, being hugged, who's to say that's not the womb of your next life?
I never thought of that.
Ah.
So
That's pretty
it's
cool.
and it's like you cease to exist as, so you then are nothing. So nothing is accurate, but then there is something. It's just not your existence. It's not your consciousness. It's
Yeah. It's a part
the
of you.
next.
Yeah.
Reincarnation to me makes the most sense. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not religious in any sense of it, but like with everything that's out, as far as we all are the same consciousness, it's the same energy, we are all made up of the same star stuff.
Mhm.
That makes the most sense to me, that we are just continuously recycled again and again and again and again. And you live all lifetimes. I have lived your lifetime. You have lived my lifetime. It's how you find people that you jive with. It's how you, the stars aligning. It's all fucking, I don't know. It's all the same. I think they're all the same.
Also,
Have
the
you-
fact that we don't know a lot about space, I'm like,
Mm.
okay. We know
I also
nothing.
believe full on it's all a fucking simulation. So take what I say with the utmost grain of salt. None of this is fucking real anyway.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that Tumblr post where it's like you're like essentially not like a god, but like you're this like celestial being or whatever, and like you go into the earth and like you have ended up playing every single person you've ever interacted with in the whole of the world, like ever. Like the earth is essentially just your like playground of experiencing
Unity.
everything until you become like you have this like I guess higher meaning, or like you have this knowledge. I find that
Yes.
really interesting as well.
I don't remember, is that Buddhism or is it Sikhism? I don't think it's just straight reincarnation where you have to live all of the
I think it's
lives
just
in
a
order for you
story.
to reach your divine being. It's like
Yeah, I
every
think
life you
it's,
live has a lesson.
I
Yeah.
think it's not like what I was referring to is literally just a story.
Yeah, it's just a
about
story.
like being all the things, but Buddhism is very much like a version of that, where they like you go through like countless births and deaths until you achieve your enlightenment.
That's kind of like the book Midnight Library in some ways, now that I'm thinking about it, because
Don't need
the
to read that.
character just keeps going through different versions of life until they learn some lesson. I haven't finished the book, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but that's the premise of it.
Buddhists also believe that your spirit stays in a place that can be accessed by like our plane of existence for 39 days after you die, which is kind of interesting that they think your spirit like hangs around and gets to, I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, but that you have 39 days before you like are in your next womb or whatever you want to
Kind of
believe.
makes sense, because I've seen like a couple of things on like TikTok where like someone was having a wedding, and like their dad said like if they ever die or whatever, like butterflies would be their sign or something, and they had just had butterflies like all over them like when they were saying their vows and stuff. And like there's another person where they're like their mum always used to say like a certain phrase to them, and then one day like their mum like dies, and then they get into like a lift, and then this like girl just says to them like, oh, I just wanted to say like, and they say the exact same phrase as like the mum would always say to them. And I just think sometimes I feel like those things are like the people just saying they're gonna be okay, like don't worry.
100%. I've watched so much. I really love watching the Medium reality TV shows, which I don't know how much truth there is to them, where they're like giving people readings and stuff like that. But it is really interesting to listen and I mean, I fully believe in what they're saying is true. So they'll do stuff like that. They'll be like, "Oh, your mom is telling you this, or your dad is telling you this," and the person's like, "Oh my god, like that was our thing. There was no way. Like that was my special nickname." Like they always know these things about them that they shouldn't, and I find that really fascinating as well.
Yeah, it always
It's
makes me wonder like how much of that is actually like real.
Right?
I mean, if
But-
it's on TV, it's really hard for me to believe that any of that is
Yeah.
real, because like it's think about the money generated, and if you could actually,
Totally.
I'm sorry, if you could actually read fucking fortunes,
Well, it's
you
not
would
fortunes,
not be on
it's
some
communicating
TV show.
with the dead.
Yeah, like
is
you
what a
would not
medium
be on a
is.
TV show, though. You know what I mean? Like it would be so much more than that if you
I've
had that ability.
Experienced so many people in person with mediumship before. I have like many stories.
They don't have TV
So
shows.
I
is my
believe
point.
the ones that I see on TV though, because I've experienced it firsthand, like a lot of times with mediums. So then I just fully believe that being a medium and being able to see dead people or talk to dead people or get readings from dead people, I think is people have that ability.
I think it's like, even if it's not real, I think it's nice, and like if it brings comfort to someone, then like who does it hurt? But then also,
Totally.
like, I would say skepticism is probably the reason why it never progresses any further, and like it is what it is at the moment, because there's always going to be people that are like, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I've also had psychic readings, and I fully believe that people can be psychics as well. But that's another big thing that people are like, no way.
My
That's
mom
impossible.
told okay, so I don't know what the psychic told my mom, but I do know that my mom said whatever it was did come true. So that just
I've had
it's like,
psychic
I wanna
readings that are
know. I wanna know what
crazy,
it was that came true.
that are literally crazy. My medium story though that happened most recently, I think was the craziest that I've had. I went to visit a woman for like a massage, and she just happened to be a medium. And I hadn't like spoke to her about this. I didn't know this. And my mom's dog had recently died like a week prior. And I am going to the massage. It's like an hour-long thing. And I had never met this woman before. I checked our text messages. Like I didn't say anything to her about this. And at the end of the massage, she was like, by the way, I'm a medium. Are you open to me like telling you something? Because a lot of people are very closed off. They're like, I don't want to hear. And I'm like, yeah, please tell me what's up. She goes, did you have a little dog that died recently? A little male, small dog. I said, yes, my mom's boy Chihuahua died like 5 days ago. And she was like, well, he was here the entire appointment, running all around, licking your face. Like he was just chilling with you. And I just had to tell you because it was so cute.
Oh,
She knew it was a boy, that it was a small breed. How did she know that? Like that to me, like how is that possible? Like literally, how is that? You know what I mean?
yeah. There's no way she like says that to every single one of her massage. Like,
No,
Yeah.
I
exactly.
have so many questions. How'd you find her? Does she know anybody else in your family? Family
Yeah,
I found her
friends?
at a
So-and-so?
bar, and I just chatted with her while I was waiting for a friend.
Crazy.
And she gave me her card, and because she was like right down the road, and she was like, you should come for a massage. Like I'm right. And I was like, okay, I love massages. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That is
That's
wild.
wild.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a weird question. You guys have plans for how you're gonna die? Like, what are you gonna do once you
After
croak?
you mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, not leading up to it. Please don't.
my
Like, leave that to the fates. Jesus Christ, I asked that wrong.
Just confirming.
What are your plans for
I'd
dying,
like to-
guys? What are we doing? Want to do
I'd
it
like
together?
to die in my sleep, and like not
Jesus.
know about it. But other than that, no plans for how I die.
I don't have plans for what I want either. I feel like I go between different stuff all the time. Now I think you can like become a tree. I think that would be
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, that's sick. I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
mind
mind being if my family wanted to like split me up, and they all have a little piece of me in like a necklace or, you know, a little diamond or just a little urn.
that. The diamond thing's bullshit, by the way. They just throw your ashes out. There's literally
Oh.
not enough carbon in your ashes.
Well, they
to
don't
make...
just put it in there
diamonds.
with it. I thought that they were
No.
making a diamond and just sprinkling some in there.
No. It's supposed
Oh.
to be that they compound it in the carbon in your ashes is what creates.
Huh.
The
I just thought it
diamond
was just like a
and-
little sprinkle in the stone.
I looked it up for Butters and I went down a rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, so this is just a scam. Got it. That's horrific. That's
Weirdly
horrific.
enough, if it wasn't so taboo or frowned upon, I would personally love to taxidermy my animals.
Oh
but-
my God. I said this to
Oh,
Vrona and
yeah.
he thought I was a fucking psycho. And I'm like,
Yeah.
not in
I
like
hate that
way.
idea. I
Yes.
hate it.
And I was like, okay,
Ugh,
stuffed
I
animals,
can't.
and even the stuffed animals him out. If it wasn't 100%, 100%
Yeah.
I would
Like,
prefer
not
it.
the
I also-
creepy ones.
Oh my god,
right?
I can't.
Like, you
Can
want
we
it to
cut that
look
out? Maybe
like
I don't
your
want to put that on
cat.
the internet.
I am fine to admit that. I also, this is a really weird thing too. I really wish that I could have kept my dog's tail,
What
my
would you do
German
with
Shepherd,
it?
because it was really long. Well, we put him down at the vet, so I have no idea what they did with his body. We didn't pay for anything, but I, as a kid, used to buy tails at the Renaissance Festival, like real animal tails. So I had a fox tail, I had a raccoon tail, and I would like clip them to my hip. Yeah, I was a weird kid, you guys. This was like when I was like 14 too.
Do you
so
have
I've-
any of these still? And also, why?
somewhere, and I just thought they were so cool, and I would like clip them on my purse. And so I was really sad my German Shepherd had this really long, like beautiful bushy tail, and I would have given anything to just let me cut it off, please. But
Huh.
Trey also thinks
Okay.
that that's like an abomination.
Yeah, I
That's-
hate that.
That's
like,
far.
They're so beautiful, you
I-
know. And
I
like,
just don't.
You're not supposed to keep them. That's psychopaths.
okay, but I grew up like
tendency.
having rabbit's feet keychains. Like my rabbit's foot
Also
keychain was a
creepy.
real rabbit's foot.
I
You
I
guys
never
had
I was
those?
never into that. That was always mortifying
Oh,
to
I
me as a
love
child.
those.
And it's
Every
my
year-
my cousins told me they're like, it's not a real rabbit's foot. And then when I got
Some of them
older,
were
I looked it up.
fake.
It used to be, yeah.
But the Renaissance Festival ones are real, and they
Mm.
have little paws and claws.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
thank
Not for
you.
me.
The
I loved
paws stay
it.
on them. That's the best part. Leave them on them.
Anyways, I'm not bothered by animal parts, apparently.
So I have actually got 2 jars, like, for each of my cats, full of their cat hair.
See? Some
I've
people might
seen
think
people
that's
make
weird.
like little pendants and stuff, and like oh my gosh, I
Some
follow
people
this
keep
chick
their
on TikTok.
whiskers.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
whiskers. So she takes your
I
animal
don't.
fur, you send it into her, and then she does
Needle
the-
felting.
Oh, yeah.
the
felting.
needle
Yes.
felting, and she makes
Yeah.
like the animal faces. Oh my gosh, she's so
I
good.
remember like 10 or 15 years ago, I watched like a TV episode about this group in San Francisco that like met and crafted with their own pet fur. It was like a little YouTube thing. And I was like, this is so weird. They would all like bring their own pet fur, and then they would needle felt like little pictures, or like, you know how you can like make stuff with needle felting, but they were using their pets.
I think
fur.
my thing is that, like, when my cat will like eventually die, I'm not going to think about these things. I'm not going to think to do this, and then I'm going to be left with like nothing, and I'm going to be like, oh, I really wish I did something. So like, I have the like nose prints and the paw
Yes.
prints
Oh,
already. I have like
Our
cat
vets will
fur
do
just
that
in case
too.
I want to do
So-
something.
Life hack: get amazing mold putty and get one of those keepsake clay kits for your pet paws. Make a stamp of their paws. Have them do it in the keepsake thing, and then use the amazing mold putty to push that into it, and you can make a stamp of your pet's paw. I have
Oh,
many
cute.
of Butters and Izzo.
Ooh.
So anytime I
And
ever
you-
want to do
you
their
should
paw prints,
do-
I can.
You should do like a little tutorial of like you doing it.
Yeah, I'd love
think,
to.
like,
Oh, I need to make a
lo-
new one anyway. Honestly, thank you for reminding me. I'm adding that to my Notion because I need to do that.
I think it is like I would want like some of my pets' ashes in like, I don't know, like a something that I can carry with me all the time. I think.
I
But
have
when I was younger, I actually had like a whole funeral plan of like what my songs were gonna be going in and out, and like what like I wanted everyone to like wear something like purple, like even if they have just like a purple bracelet or like a purple scarf. Like I had like a whole color scheme for my funeral. I had this thing when I was younger where I didn't think I was gonna live to be an adult. I just had like a block. I thought like I was probably gonna like myself, you know. So I just had this plan of what I wanted to do. I was going to sing this song so that they could just play it, just really morbid, just me like singing like if I die young, you know. But yeah, so I had like a huge like I had this like notebook where I just wrote like all my funeral plans. I lost it in one of the moves, and I don't really think about what my funeral is going to be like now because I'm in a healthier place.
that's good.
But I do think about like sometimes, like if I have something that's really cool, I'll think, who would I give this to when I die? I'll be like, no, I'm gonna bury it with me.
Weirdly
Yeah,
enough,
I think
I just want people to be close to me in like whatever way. You know, I feel like if I have kids or like I'll just let them decide. Like, do you want me to be at a gravesite? Do you want to carry me around a necklace? Like, do you want to sprinkle me in the sea? I don't know if I care that much.
I didn't know you
so.
were thinking about having kids.
Yeah, definitely at some point.
Yeah, I'm learning all kinds of
I
things
just
today about
I just
Finland.
block it out, you know, so that I can survive right now without thinking about
Yeah.
it.
I, like you, haven't put too much thought into it, but I will say when my another weird relationship thing with my brother's grandpa died. He had like a celebration of life basically where we all got together and we like drank and just had a good time, and it wasn't really like this sad funeral type of thing.
Yeah.
When I die, I would like something like that.
Fun,
I something fun that isn't
where people are
like,
laughing and like sharing
yeah, because I
memories.
hate funerals. I hate them so much.
Yeah, they're so sad. The
Yeah, they've been
vibes
to
are
like
So
one.
not there.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'd rather have something more like upbeat and actually like happy.
I don't know.
Did
I
you
feel
know the
like
people you did funerals or you went to funerals for?
Mhm.
I didn't really know the
Mhm.
person. It was
I
like
didn't.
yeah, I know.
an ex's grandparent. I'm like, why am I here?
Like I was close to my brother's grandpa. We would like go out for breakfast when I was younger and stuff like that. So I was close with him, but he was also old. So I don't know. I feel
I
like
feel you.
kind of separate
Yeah.
that in my head when they're like really old, and it's just like it's that time.
That's what happens when you're really
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
See, I'm
Exactly.
the opposite. So I went to a funeral maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago for my nana. And it's like, I just remember all the memories. Like, it's just like, oh, we're never going to have any more memories. Like, that's it now. That's the end of our chapter together. Um, I was like inconsolable during the funeral. I think my granny and I ended up not going to the wake afterwards because um, I just was like I was just really like upset, and also like it was my cousin's nana, but she always used to like include me with them, so like she was my nana, like she would send me birthday cards, so to me she's my nana, but like I wasn't like actually part of their family except through like marriage. But yeah, so I ended up not going to the wake. But I think for me, like I don't mind like having the like the funeral bit like at the cremation like place and stuff. But like afterwards, I think it'd be really nice if you just went to like I don't know the beach or somewhere and just like had like a bonfire and like had drinks and just like chilled and told stories, or like a campfire, you know, just like any just kind of like telling story. What I just really would like is people to just tell stories about memories of me, of like, you know, hey, do you remember when she did this thing and wasn't that really funny? And then everyone laughs a bit because they remember this really funny thing. And you know, yes, it's sad the life's ended, but hey, wasn't it kind of cool this moment with her, or like that we got to do this, or like, hey, remember when we drove all the way down there and she threw up in the car? Like, oh god, just
That
like just fun things.
that was my favorite part of my grandpa's funeral because I got to learn so much about him that I didn't know, and about him when he was like younger, and like hear about him from other people, because he had like people that like he went to college with, and so you know like 60 years ago they're telling these stories, and I learned like all kinds of cool things about him, that he was like a really cool guy. And so yeah, I think that if you can do one thing at your funeral, make sure people are telling stories, because it's different to hear about somebody from somebody else's mouth, right? Because they knew like a slightly different version, a different facet of them that you may not hear if it's just them telling you the story themselves.
But even like the fact like my cousin and I, we all have like this, we all did the same like thing with my nana, but like we'll have different memories of that. So like my cousin telling their story of that, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, like I never thought of it like that and stuff. So I think it's like nice. Um I think it's just nice to have those memories, because even if someone's telling a memory that you were in, you're not gonna have the same perspective.
I agree. I think that's nice. When my grandpa died, my mom, um, he got cremated and nobody wanted the ashes. Like nobody wanted to do anything in her family. So my mom went there and she got like a little urn for herself. She got an urn for her mom, which I thought was so sweet, even though her mom was like, I don't want it. She said, you might one day. She didn't tell my grandma this. She just has it in case she's ever like changes her mind, which I was like, wow, that was smart on your half there. And then I got a little necklace that just is like sealed and it's like really small. And for some reason, everyone in my family was like, "That's so weird. Why are you doing that?" Like, and I was like, "I don't know. I just like feel like it might be nice to have." And now is my only opportunity to do that. And I'm really glad I did. I've taken him with me on like fun trips and stuff like that. And it's just kind of cool to be like, "Hey, Grandpa, like look where we are," you know. And yeah, so I think it's I don't know. I
A
don't
little
think of it as
morbid for
weird.
sure. I've
I
thought
think that's
about like
nice.
I don't know. I don't know what we would do because we're not having kids. So it's like who's going to be alive by the time we're that old to want our ashes? You know what I mean? That might be a really weird thing to do 60 years from now. I hope I live for at least another 60 years.
You could donate your body to science.
I mean, yeah, they could see the long-term effects of heavy cannabis use.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't know. My granddad was cremated, but we buried him because my granny has this like family plot, like where her like great grandparents and her mum and dad were buried and stuff. And we just buried him like along the side of it, and it's nice. Every Christmas we go and lay wreaths, and I get to say hello and happy Christmas to my granddad, and I know where he is if I want to have a chat with him or anything, which is nice. I feel like if you put someone in the ocean, they're kind of like, where are you gonna go to say hello?
At the same time, though, anytime you're in the ocean, it's all connected, right?
I don't really go in the ocean though, so probably because people put.
I feel that. Yeah. I don't really go in the ocean.
That's just what
That's-
sounds bad.
Sounds like a thing. Oh, wait.
But then you have
Oh.
other people who like scatter ashes or like try to scatter ashes in like Disney parks. So you know,
Have you? Yeah, you guys have seen that, right? Roll me up and smoke me. That's a song, I think. That's a Willie Nelson song.
oof,
That's
gotta go Google
terrifying.
it.
that
please.
sounds awful.
Roll me up. I feel like yeah. Roll me
That's
up and
what
smoke me when I
Steph
die is 100% a Willie Nelson song. Here you go, friends. You can go
I
listen
couldn't
to that
imagine.
afterward.
I couldn't imagine telling somebody to do that.
Yeah,
That was a thing. What was it? Tupac or Biggie? They smoked one of them.
Do you guys feel like COVID changed your perception on death at all?
Yes and no.
For me, the one thing that it did, during COVID, I had like a bit of death anxiety about my parents, especially my dad, because he has asthma. So I was always like, anytime he got sick, we were always like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" Da da da. You know, anytime he got COVID, we'd be like, "Mom, are you watching Dad? Are you in there all the time? Like, are you checking on him?" Like, I definitely. But then I think the aftermath of that is like not taking my parents for granted, like being more present with them and realizing that they are getting older. And like I think that's given me like a nice perspective to just like cherish them more while they are here.
I think
Yeah.
the same. I had like huge like death anxiety. Like I barely left my because I was put on furlough as well for like 6 months. So like I didn't leave my house until we absolutely had to go get like food food shopping, and then even then I was like masked up and I like made sure I like hand sanitized everything, and like I didn't go out, like I didn't be like, hey, let's go out for a meal. Like I literally didn't leave the house and I didn't go anywhere because I was so worried that if I went somewhere and I caught COVID, I would give it to my granny because I live with her. And like if I was the person who gave my granny COVID and it killed her, like that guilt would eat me alive for the rest of my life.
I thought about that too a lot. Like, oh my God, I didn't know I had it, and I, would give it to them. Like, those thoughts consumed me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, cannabis being essential, like I going inside of dispensaries, you are around a lot of immunocompromised people. So it's decisions you had to make. I met cool people during the pandemic, but they're like, yeah, we're not getting vaxxed. I'm like, you realize like we can't hang out. Like it's literally not responsible for me to hang out with you. Like you're cool. We can video chat and shit, but like I can't, you have to get vaxxed if we're going to hang out in person. That's like not a thing that I can do. Like that'd be fucking awful. You go to a dispo and like you spread it to everybody that works at the dispensary. That's not going to work.
Is what annoys me now, even because I still have like a bit of that anxiety because like COVID hasn't finished, it's still rampant, is that like people come into work ill, like people come into work ill, and it's like people who can work from home come in ill, and I'm like, I can't work from home. I have to be here for my job. Can you at least do the decent thing and not come in if you're ill? Because I have someone who's vulnerable at home, and I don't think that's fair. And especially because I see them and they like cough on their screens and they cough everywhere and they don't even put their hand over their mouth. I'm just like, you're not even trying not to spread whatever you have.
Yeah, my boss would require us to come in, and then he came in sick, got me sick, got Rona sick, who never leaves the house. And I'm like, what the fuck is the point? What is the point of making me be? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think for me, like, COVID has really made me more anxious about like any sickness like that could be COVID, or like could potentially like bring down my like family,
I would say that for me, COVID didn't necessarily make me think about death more, but I will say it did make me want to be a little bit more cautious around like my grandparents, because whenever I go to my hometown, I see them. So I just had to be really careful about when I went home if I had COVID or not, which I wasn't really scared of getting COVID myself because I got it fairly early on because Reagan was an EMT during COVID. So I kind of knew I would get it at some point. It was just a matter of when. And then I did end up getting it, and I mean, it sucked, but it wasn't like it wasn't that bad. At least for me, it wasn't. And then, of course, I did, in fact, get COVID again a couple of weeks ago.
Trey got COVID?
Yeah, I just got over COVID.
Yeah, she just had COVID.
The very first session for the project we did in person, I got COVID that first week.
Summer surge, baby.
See, this is why we should not be forcing people into the offices, because everyone's going to get ill.
I didn't even know I had COVID until we took Reagan to the doctor.
I knew.
Because Reagan literally... Well, I mean, I had thought maybe it's COVID because I was super sick, but I didn't like test myself or anything. I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was kind of treating it like I had COVID. I just didn't test it. But we didn't find out until I took Reagan to the doctor because he was like coughing so hard that he could not like breathe.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At work, it's so easy in the summer because anybody that tells me they're feeling flu-ish, I'm like, it's July. Nobody gets the flu in July. You have COVID.
Why are you here? Like, if you don't feel well, if you are coughing and you leave your house without a mask, you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
I really want a shirt that says it's not COVID. I just ripped my Benjamin. Because I do that in public a lot. And then I'm like...
I had a couple masks that said it's a weed cough, and I never wore them out in public. But I do have some masks that say it's a weed cough.
I just had a girl at work come, and she was coughing so much that like 3 people texted me and were like, hey, can you talk to her? And so I was like, hi, can you send me a negative COVID test or can you stay home? And luckily she was like, oh, don't worry, I have a negative COVID test from like 4 days ago. Here you
Still,
go.
also, why the fuck are you here?
Well, it
You're
was
coughing
just-
all
it
over
was-
everything.
You know how you get like a lingering sometimes? You're not sick anymore, but your cough doesn't go away?
Yeah.
Wear
Yeah.
a mask. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it just makes, I've literally watched people pull their mask down, cough, and then put it back up. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I don't
why?
get
And they're like,
that.
I don't want to cough on the inside of my mask. It's
People are
kind of
so
gross. I'm like,
dumb.
that's the point.
Yeah, literally, I had a cold like a month ago. I like one of our business directors just like coughed over everything, and eventually everyone just in the office got sick from him. It was like, great, thank you for that. And I was like quite like sneezy and coughy, so I had my mask on like at work, and everyone was like, oh, and I was like, it's just a cold, but like I don't want to get you ill, you know. But no one ever wears a mask when they're ill, and I was just like, I want to do what I would expect other people to do, which is wear a mask if you're coughing and like expelling.
You're gonna make me
bodily
come in.
fluid.
I do. I wear the mask. I wash my hands. I don't touch shit. I bring the Clorox wipes with me, and I like wipe everything down when I get there. When I leave, like, if you're gonna make me be here, I'm at least as respectful as I can be. COVID made me not a germaphobe, but I'm way more conscious now of like how often I wash
same.
my hands.
I
So when
just
we come
never go to
inside,
a
we wash
buffet
our
now.
hands.
Yes, same.
Ever.
I was the only person on my plane wearing a mask.
Absolutely fucking not.
And I will never not wear a mask on an airplane.
Clip number
Like,
2 I'm
I
playing
don't
when people ask me
care.
why I don't fly.
I don't care if COVID is gone. It's so disgusting to me. And I also have my personal fan on the airplane, and it's just blasting in my face, so that like the air is always just like I don't use the above little AC. I'm just, so it's circulating air. Yeah, it's like a comfort thing at this point. I can't. It feels so icky.
Yeah,
Because I used to get sick like every time I flew. I would get a cold back in the day.
People are nasty
Really?
on
because
airplanes.
it
It's
just
just, like,
recycles the
recirculating.
air. Yeah,
Ugh. Yeah,
Gross.
planes are kind of gross. Like if you
planes
think
are
about it.
nasty. It's like a little, yeah. So I'm like hood
Yeah.
on, hand sanitizer, Clorox my seat. I'm very like germy. I'll even like Clorox
So
the airport seat I sit in when I'm like at the gate.
I think
Yeah.
since I was like just sick with COVID, I wasn't really worried when I was on the plane because
Yeah,
I just
you
was
got those
sick.
antibodies.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, we're going to a vacation and we're flying. The last thing I want is to get to Montana and 2 days in be like, oh, I am sick.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Would be terrible.
I think that's the main reason I'm like, buffets where people can like cough and sneeze on things.
Oh, I haven't been to a
Yeah,
buffet since
buffets.
COVID.
No. I go to one place that's all you can eat, and they cook everything fresh for you. You pick it off a menu and they cook it fresh and give it
That's
to you.
yes.
And I don't mind sharing with the people on my table. But other than that, I'm not really a sharer. I see people when I'm like in town just like cough into the air, and I'm like, I don't trust you anywhere near a buffet. Thank you very much.
Ugh.
always pull my shirt up if I don't have a mask. It's
I cough into my
I
elbow.
Yeah.
I'm like a elbow cougher.
even the elbow like tweaks me out because like
it
I've
still
seen
goes
the
underneath?
spray. Yeah, I pull my shirt up. I don't know. It's
It's fair.
even if I'm wearing like a V-neck, I'll pull like the side of. I don't know. I'm a different person now after watching people literally cough on fruit in the grocery store like mid-COVID. Ugh. Ugh.
If I am at my desk, either at
Yeah,
home or
wash
at
your
work,
fruit.
and I have to
Ugh.
sneeze, I always have tissue to sneeze into. Like catch it, kill it, bin it, guys. You know.
What are the biggest takeaways from the episode for everyone?
Braylon likes. I don't know. Braylon, we got to talk more about.
Dead
We
animal.
just need to
tales.
talk more.
About
So many more things to learn from you about
Dead
you.
animals.
I think that I definitely was like, I fully believe in reincarnation, and I think that I have been around like a gazillion times. And so I'm like, in a past life, I probably was like a butcher or like a witch or something, because it just doesn't bother me in the slightest. Or maybe I was a taxidermist. I don't know.
I've definitely
Like-
had the thought of stuffing the cat because she's just so damn pretty.
I
but
know. See? It's not that. And then there's a girl on
I
TikTok
would-
that did that though, and everybody has just like said that she's the most revolting person ever.
But I've
Oh,
heard
is
I've heard
that-
the horror stories on the other side of it where people do that with their pets, and the other pet they had in the house, like they lose their fucking mind and they destroy it.
Oh.
So
Well, yeah, I'd
it's-
probably keep it in a case because you're gonna pay like what, $5,000? I don't know how much taxidermy costs. I imagine it's
Yeah.
not cheap.
yeah. That's that. I didn't think about that. See, like, I was way more creepy about it. I was like, just put it by the fireplace, just like curled up like she would be on a pillow. Yeah, no, that's Blaze. Your reaction is what my husband said, and he's like, please never tell anybody that. Here it is on the internet.
I hate it.
I want like
Not
a
for
plushy
me.
version of my cat, you know?
Those
That-
can go
that is
so
fine.
wrong though. Have you seen the fuck ups
Like a
on the
good
internet?
one. A good one. Not like the creepy
Even the
one.
good ones are crazy expensive and they get a little weird.
I
I've looked
think-
into this.
My biggest takeaway is that I'm gonna think about like what I want after I die because I really don't know, and I feel like I gotta try and think about that. What I want to happen.
I am curious of the pipeline of Braylon who like collected like tails and stuff to Mean Girl Braylon. I'm like really curious. of
Oh, that is an interesting pipeline. I've been
Yeah.
a lot of
That is
people
a
in my
very-
life.
I'm just like
Okay, I didn't think
pipeline.
about that. See, this is why I want to continue these conversations. Just we need a little
Chameleon. I would say it's
biography
because
session.
I'm a chameleon, and it's based on the Mean Girl was because of my friends. You know,
oh,
if that
that's
makes
such
sense.
an autistic thing though, like taking like becoming different people when you're around other people. Like,
Thanks, Dana.
mimicking to fit
My
in.
dad, my
Thanks.
whole
Sorry.
life has
Call
said
you
he's a
guys out.
chameleon, and I'm like, and yeah, you definitely.
I was
are.
telling Vrona the other day, I'm like, I don't feel like I actually have my own personality. It's just a mishmash of every person I've ever interacted with. I just take my favorite parts and I become that.
How is that
What is me,
wrong?
though?
Okay, but it's
Mm.
your favorite
What's
parts.
me?
So you like those.
It's them. It's
Yeah, but
their
it's
parts that
your-
are now mine. It's
if you took
it's a facade.
like a
Y'all-
little bit of fabric from every person's shirt and made a quilt, that wouldn't be everybody else's quilt. It would be your quilt.
Yeah,
You
I
decide
disagree. I think it would be everybody
cut
else's
out.
fault.
Ah,
No,
Yeah, it's-
because
it's
you
yours.
made
Just
adjustments
poached.
to
You
It
made
feels
it
fake.
yourself.
It feels like you're wearing like a mask.
Oh,
Like, this
is
well,
your
that's a whole
personality.
different topic that we could discuss for a long
We
time.
should probably
Yeah.
discuss this
We
at
should.
some point.
Can we
What
actually have that
annoys me, though-
conversation?
You'll
It's
It's
actually
fucking me
make
up.
me have like identity crisis.
The thing that annoys me about that though is like you'll end up picking up a phrase that someone says and I won't be able to remember what I used to say before I started picking up this thing that someone
Yeah,
else says.
it's
And I
just it was
like,
me the whole time.
I was like, who am I?
I was in a
Mostly my
call.
husband. I'm mostly my husband.
Exactly.
Oh,
I was in
yeah.
a call the other night, and the person I was talking to was like, "You and Reagan talk similar," and I
Oh,
was
you
like,
think?
"Well, we've been dating for like 6 years, so yeah,
Yeah,
probably."
kind of the same person at this
Yeah.
But
point.
literally, this girl I knew, we used to say, you know what I mean? Like at the end of like a lot of sentences. And then I used to say, you know what I mean? And I was like, why do we keep saying this?
No.
Why?
You know
Why?
that I say LOL a lot, which started ironically because my best friend was saying it as a joke. And she kept saying it so
Those are the
much
worst.
that it caught on, and I
Yeah.
can't stop myself from
I
saying it.
hate those. I'm gonna say this ironically because
Yeah.
then I stop
Yeet.
start just saying it.
Have
I
you
started
seen the
thinking-
little? Have you seen the little circle, the little graph where it's like starts saying the one I saw was for like Gen Z slang, starts saying it ironically, and then it ends up at like is now a part of your vocabulary because you can't
like-
stop.
Yeah.
It's like that, like, bro, I don't think it's a joke anymore. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, I find comfort knowing that from this episode that Blaze also has a fear of death. That's nice to know. That's not just me. But also that like there are kind of things like the near-death experiences, the past lives that kids talk about, mediums, psychics. Like there are things that kind of make it sound like once we die, it's not the end. It's not forever. And that kind of brings me a little bit of comfort.
Yeah, they say your energy never goes away, right? It's just
I don't think-
transferred
I don't think
somewhere
it
else.
can be.
Does, right? You know?
Yeah.
I it's nothing is what is it? Subjective? Objective? I don't know. Nothing is a state of consciousness, and nothing for you can be something for someone else, right? It's all perspective.
Everything is subjective.
Subjective. Thank you. I never know if it's objective or subjective. It's one of those grammar things I'm working on, okay? So if anyone has advice for how to fucking tell, let me know.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not that person.
same.
So bad.
Blaze is like, I have no
don't
idea
know.
what you're saying, but I can't help.
Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh. I would say that my biggest takeaway is that I'm still just as scared of death as I was at the start.
Nice. Glad we could help.
So, gotta love that.
I mean, the
But
other thing I
it
tell
did give me a
myself,
good outlook.
yeah, I mean, you only get like 80 years on this planet. You're telling me that's it? That's all the life we
Yeah,
get to live,
exactly.
and we're the
That's
only
it?
living beings that we're aware of in this entire universe? Fuck that. That's not. No, that's it. That's it. The universe is billions of years old.
Yeah.
And then we
No,
spend
we
most
get
of our
60
fucking
years.
life working. We're like, yeah, we've
Yeah,
got like limited
exactly.
time on this earth. Let's just fucking like hate our lives and work.
It
Exactly.
seriously makes me have like a crisis about like what I'm doing with my life.
I
Have
can't think
you-
about it too deeply because I will have like a mental breakdown.
freak
and
out?
I will,
Exactly.
like-
Same.
like,
I can't think
yeah,
about it
I
too
can't.
deep.
I will
I
have
like-
an existential crisis.
Just maximizing the time I have now. I'm just trying to enjoy it. The money's great, but like, what am I doing with it?
I like to think about that I am a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yeah, we're literally brains
soul-
with meat sacks.
I believe that my soul chose this
Good
because
point.
it wanted the lessons that it would learn and the things it would experience in my life. And I believe when I go back up there, I'll get another chance to look at and say, okay, let's go again.
I hope.
Kinda
I
like
mean, that's
that.
what I would like to happen.
I like
But-
the existence I've built. This is nice. I have an orange and white cat. That's like a highlight of this
It's like-
lifetime.
Have you watched Rick and
Mhm.
Morty where he goes and plays the video game that's called Roy? And it's just
Yeah.
him living a life.
Yeah.
And he dies in the video game and then he comes back and he's like, where's my wife?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of going to be like that.
Simulation.
This
Oh,
is
100
the
fucking
video
percent.
game.
It's
It makes me
on-
worry though. Like, am I wasting my life?
Exactly. Same.
Are you
Like, yeah.
happy? If the answer is no,
Your soul
then
doesn't think it's
it's
wasting its
not.
life for sure.
I think
I
it's
don't
just
think.
hard. It's like, what is my meaning and my purpose of being here? Like, is it to
Oh.
just keep doing things?
I think it's a
every
little
day?
bit too deep, to be honest. I
This
don't
is
think there is a
playground.
meaning or
But
purpose.
that's how I think though.
This is a
also.
I
playground.
literally.
You don't go to a playground and go, what is my purpose here?
Do whatever the fuck you want. Everyone
You just
else
play.
is. Do no
just
harm.
play.
That's it. That's my
But I'm
only
not
rule. I'm not
playing.
hurting
I'm
anybody.
I
like-
don't know.
Your soul is playing.
Existing.
Because
Your
also
soul's
like
playing.
I have this weird thing with like my name being Blaze. It's also like I have this odd feeling that I have to live up to something because like who the heck has that name?
In the words
Not
of Gary
many people.
Vaynerchuk, you already are living up to something. You already are.
Yeah, but is it enough?
You
I
are
feel
more
like
than
it's
enough.
not.
Enough
Like,
for
I feel
who?
like nothing is ever enough. Like,
Yeah.
what am I
For
doing
who?
here? Like, why am I alive right now? What is the point? Like,
You keep
why am I
moving the
existing?
Dana and I having a crisis over
Yeah.
here.
You guys keep moving the goalposts. Who are you trying to make happy? And if it's not you, then why is it somebody else? And if you don't think it's somebody else, then why aren't you happy? Because you can make the choice
We
to just
have to.
be happy.
We're stuck in certain boxes where we have
Yeah.
to do things. I have to go to work because I have to have a
know.
paycheck
Exactly.
and I have to be able to afford things. Would I love to be able to do something that I like doesn't feel like work and I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm like I get to chill and I'm so calm and I'm never stressed and I don't feel burnout and I love myself. That would be great. But at the moment I'm this.
Life is
and
hard.
It's depressing.
Yeah,
And
no, I
I just
feel
don't
that.
know. I don't know anymore. You
It's
know?
all lessons. That's how I look at it.
I don't know. I've shifted my perspective, even though I added my hours, and I don't want to say publicly how many hours I fucking worked this week because it was too goddamn many. But it's
Honestly,
like it's a small segment, right? So it's like I don't know. I personally have just been sitting in my fucking gratitude, and that's the only place I'm letting
Mhm.
myself be. I do not get to complain about anything right now because I'm not letting myself. I don't give a
I
fuck, Steph. Shut the fuck
think-
up.
I think
That's the
to
key.
Dana, and I think it also deals with our age because we are at that
Oh.
age where we're like just
Yes.
finishing school.
The
just
world is
getting
falling
into
apart.
The world,
God.
the
I'm
rich
Yeah.
not gonna
world.
talk
We
about
have to
that
figure
either.
out all of this shit.
25 to
So,
28
I
was
think it's an
fucking
age
rough for me. Like,
It's
so
like-
rough.
It's hard because like I used to be the youngest person in the company when I joined, and like I had savings and I was doing my apprenticeship and I was doing really well for myself, and everyone was like, wow, look at her. And now I'm 26 and there are so many 26-year-olds that are doing way better than I'm doing right now. And like
Yeah.
someone like I used to be like doing really well for my age, and now I'm just like, yeah, everyone who doesn't like try hard is where you're at, you know, like it's not that
Well,
difficult to
Dana,
be there at 26.
But it's not
you
a
know?
full comparison. Are they living in the same situation? Are they making the same amount of money? Did they have the same education and support growing up? Like the stacks are not the same. Like comparing yourself to I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. Comparing yourself to another human being is like dog versus cat, potato versus tomato. It's not even the same thing. Honestly, you with your brain could live that exact same life and have a completely different outcome. It's not the same.
And you're
I
not seeing the full
do-
picture of their lives. They
I
could
do
go home
think
and be
so.
crying.
It's hard. It's hard being like, I think I don't want to speak for Blaze as well, but I feel like we're very similar maybe in the existential crisis we're having right now.
I think that
I don't
literally
know.
you guys are beginning once you turn like 26, your Saturn's return starts and it ends when you're like a little over 27, and like that is a shit show for everyone. Like I remember feeling like the world was crumbling and I had no grasp on anything. Like it was and I keep seeing TikToks too where people are like, I'm 25 and what's the point of living and why is everything so hard and why do I, and I'm like, it's just we all go through that. You all like you'll come out the other side and you'll be like, holy shit, thank God that's over, and you'll start to level out.
I'm talking with my brain right now because that's when I quit my corporate job and went into cannabis, and yeah, the fucking holy shit, the life.
It's also hard because like Reagan finished school a couple of months ago and he's struggling to find a job and he's having a crisis because of it, and it's making me have a crisis alongside because I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm in a good place, but how do I get my partner to a good place as well?
It
Not your
takes them longer.
responsibility.
That is stressful.
It takes them
Also
longer
not your
too.
responsibility. It's
just like
it
doesn't even matter
I
if
think
it's my responsibility. I
mean,
you have to
here,
deal
I
with
have to
it.
deal with
Easier.
it.
Yeah.
as you get older, because like it's I don't know, I don't worry so much about what Verona's doing like I did when I was in my late 20s. It was like right after we kind of turned 30, it's like, no, you're a grown man, you'll figure it out. And that's got to be the trust you have for your partner that they're doing what they need to do to get their shit together.
Well,
I had
it's
many years
hard.
of feeling like that though, like you're feeling, Blaze.
It's hard
And
when
it is hard.
you have had support and you have had all of these things that made it easier to
Yeah.
get where you're at, and your partner has not had the same
100%.
support and has zero support
That's
except for you.
yeah. That was my same
That's fair.
situation too.
Damn
If it makes you feel
opposite.
any better, you're gonna come out the other side and you'll be fine.
I know it'll be fine. It's just like
It's really
getting
it
to
really
that point,
sucks.
it's just
The trusting
It-
you're gonna be
ugh,
fine is the
so
hardest
bad.
part. I struggle with that. It's what if it's blind trust? What if you're wrong? What if you're just sticking your head in the sand and living a false reality that everything's gonna be okay, and then reality comes and snacks the shit out of you, and it's like, why the fuck did you think it was gonna be okay, bitch? When has it ever been okay?
I was
It's
fine
always been
until the
okay.
other night when he just went through a complete like crisis point, and now I'm just like going through the motions of trying to like get out of that other side.
I think it's really hard because like I try and just keep like, you know, one step at a time, just think about like what's happening right now. But if I think about the future and I think about like the fact that eventually I'm gonna have to buy a house and live by myself and like once I finish my degree, I'm gonna have to like get experience somewhere and change jobs, and that's gonna be lots of hard. Then I'm just like, I freak out. Like I freak out so much, and I think like, why am I alive right now? Like, why am I existing? Like, what, you know?
That sounds overwhelming, though. All of
It
that at
is.
once.
I
What about
I
like
am
the
overwhelmed.
very first part of it? My therapist yells at me all the time to stop thinking about the future because I spiral. I get
Yeah.
it's just the stress compounds,
it's
and I'm
kinda
like, oh my god, I have
pointless.
so much to do.
If you
Yeah,
think about
that's
it,
Reagan. He
like there's no
just
point in just thinking about
spirals.
the things that we have to do. Like, what's the like, you know, we don't need to think
then
about
it's
them
having
until
the
they begin to
energy.
happen.
Yeah, it's having the energy to sit down and actually plan it out, the goals, the tasks
That's
that come
different
with
than
it, and then
overthinking
fitting it
though,
in.
right? That's
It-
planning.
Yeah, it's like worrying
Yeah.
means you suffer twice, you know?
Yeah.
Like you suffer before
True.
the event happens, and then you suffer when it actually happens.
Different than ruminating. That's where I get stuck, is like I don't have the energy to sit down and actually think it through and like plan it out. So then I just sit there and like hyper fixate on it and dwell. I don't know why I'm still wearing the cookie. I'm gonna take the cookie off. I
Meditation.
was a snack for Halloween this year. You're welcome.
You were a snack for Halloween like 3 years ago too when you came to our Halloween party.
They don't know that.
Now they do. You're an
Now it's in the
outfit
bottom
repeater.
of my closet. I'm like,
We
score.
all know
I've
now.
got my Disney Halloween shirt.
Let's go.
I
cute.
think maybe the spookiest and scariest part of this October is the fact that we are having our own existential crises and overthinking about life. Yeah, and why we're even alive. So, you know,
Find
some
a
great
reason
conversations here.
that feels good for you. Like when I have those questions, I'm just like, I remind myself like this is a playground. My purpose is to play, to learn, to have fun. May not always be that
Might
way.
as
Sometimes you
well.
fall and you get hurt, right? At a playground. Sometimes you are the kid that's left out and you're crying, but it's still a playground at the end of the day.
I guess to sum up this episode, it's okay to be afraid of death, but live your life. YOLO.
Don't let it eat your
Don't let it
life.
consume you. Don't let it consume you like it has
Don't let
us.
it consume you.
Death isn't that tall. You can get your leg up there.
Exactly.
If there's one thing we know, we're all gonna die.
Eventually.
Yes.
At some
Thank
point.
you. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening in. We hope you found some value. Join us on Discord to access resources mentioned in each episode and to find your people. Follow us on social media and tune into our next episode. How we can accommodate ourselves and our neurodivergence.
Let's go.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye.